So let me see if we got a timer on this so we can. Okay, we live. I need to know if we got a timer or anything. It's all right. Let me see.
Let's see.
All right. Okay. Okay. Like I wish. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can use this internet to kind of watch what I'm looking at.
The Mojave. No one's gonna stop me. I'm making way so big that the dam couldn't block.
This kind of a this is yeah streaming them. This is kind of a this is interesting. Let me see. Let's see if I can actually see us doing it if we're doing it or not. Okay, yeah. It is streaming live now. Let me go ahead and click it, and we can get this showboat on the road. This is tight. All right then. For all of those who are sitting here or who would be watching this, terribly sorry.
It's always around the one.
Yeah. But you can't get nowhere unless you do it right. Unless you try.
Yeah, you gotta give it a shot.
What the hell? Oh Lord. It's a Stokes commercial. Golly. So this is how you do the moderator thing. Okay. Like I said, just learn how to do this.
It's always
I do appreciate you taking the time out to sit here and work with me on this.
No problem. This is always fun. In fact, I wanted to do podcasting a few years ago and just really never got into the niche of doing it. Although I had the stuff to do it. I bought a camera, I got the microphone, and just never sat down and did it.
Sweet. It is up. It's probably delayed by like 20 seconds, but let's go ahead and get into this. All right, what's going on, guys? Terribly sorry for the little glitches and the little delay and everything. This is our first time coming on the channel and doing a Google Hangout and live streaming and everything, and it has definitely been an experience. All right, then. So for y'all who don't know, my name is NarikChase. I do the NarikChase channel. We sit here, we talk about movies, video games, books, television shows, anime. We just dive right into media and pop culture, and we do love it. Now, today on this session, I'm going to be having a Marvel versus DC discussion, and I have a guest star with me, Mr. Ken Phillips.
How's it going?
Would you like to say the words?
It's going. We're going to have a good time tonight, I think, and learning this Marvel and DC.
Now, what? Honestly, this is an age-old question. You know, people have been debating about this for the longest. Honestly, what are your impressions on the whole argument between Marvel and DC?
Most of the comics I read to start with were more of your classic DC comics. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, several other little publications that they had. And I would say probably as time progressed, I still favor Batman, don't get me wrong. But
yeah,
in the last few years, we've seen DC trying to push to get their movies out, but Marvel is just dominating them. And most people can really more relate to except for your classic characters, like your Justice League characters, you know, the original Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. And most kids growing up, or at least in my case, I'm a little bit older than you, but I used to watch, you know, Justice League and all those all the time.
Yes.
And that's what you saw. You saw the core characters always on TV, but you know, later on in life, you start seeing Stan Lee get in there, bringing in your Spider-Man, your other characters from the Marvel Universe started bleeding in there. And over the last, I would say definitely over the last 5 years, but say within the last 10 years, you have seen the Marvel world just rise up and bring all their characters to life. And to me, it was awesome to see all these characters in a human form instead of just an animated TV series or, like a little movie here and there. Like, we go back and look at the Fantastic Four, the 1970 and the 1984 movies, and they're really hokey.
Yeah.
And now you get CGI, big budget graphics, and like a lot of the, like say George Lucas, when he was talking about making Star Wars, he made state-of-the-art movies with what was available at the time, but they envisioned seeing more. They wanted to bring more, but it wasn't practical to create these characters and bring them to life. And so now you have all this computing power, you have all these stories now, and you've had kids who don't even know who half these characters are. They may have seen them, but they don't know who they are. And for us, we grew up with these characters. I mean, who wanted to be Iron Man? Who wanted to be Batman? Who wanted to be Superman? You didn't see a lot of that. And now you're seeing, I'm walking around the mall seeing like little Thors walking around and stuff, just dressed up for fun. So you're seeing that rise, and say right now, Marvel's taking that lead. Marvel's got that lead in hand. I mean, they're pushing movies more often. They're bringing out a lot of their core characters. DC's trying to play catch up, but DC typically has been a lot darker in the storyline. Where
I definitely agree with that.
Because if you read, Dark Knight, some of the Namor and other series, those characters, they were very brooding characters, very tough characters, rough worlds, always fighting. Where Marvel was more like, yeah, they had problems, but hey, we're having fun doing it. And that's why I think a lot of people are striving. I mean, we're seeing them, they're not trying to be edgy. They're just kind of bringing those characters out to us in a way that we can enjoy them, have fun with them. The humor, watching the Hulk smash Loki into the ground and say "puny God." I mean, come on. I remember watching the original Hulk series, and it was really, there wasn't that much violence in the original Hulk series, but it's been very interesting in watching this going. And I say Marvel's going to keep on it for a while. We've got Guardians 2 coming out soon, Doctor Strange. Obscure to a lot of people, obscure character, Doctor Strange. They don't even really know who he is. And if
I will admit, a lot of the characters that were in the movies, I never really cared about before the movies actually came out, which I think also helps to make them more pronounced. Which I do like the fact that Marvel is doing that.
Yes, they're bringing out Black Panther, a prime example. I remember reading about Black Panther. I've seen a few comic series, but really never saw that character come out. I knew they were there, but it was Black Panther. And now you have him as a key character. He's coming out in his own movie in 2 years, I believe. And I have the Marvel list in front of me, but roughly 2 years, you're going to have a Black Panther dedicated movie. Black Widow. Who the heck is Black Widow? Never heard of her. Boom, there you go. Black Widow.
Same thing with Guardians of the Galaxy. I remember a lot of my friends, nobody even heard of Guardians of the Galaxy.
I remember seeing the comics vaguely, just, and I probably have one or two in my collection somewhere, but who? Was exactly what it was. Who the heck is Guardians of the Galaxy? So, like I say,
so as far as live action movies are concerned, we could say Marvel is leading.
Absolutely, right now they are.
Let me ask you this: do you think the reason why they're leading is because they're connecting all of their movies? Well, not the not the X-Men, not Blade, not Fantastic Four yet, or in that sense. But as far as Captain America, you think that's what's making it so prominent? Whereas in the DC hasn't started. Aside from Man of Steel, Suicide Squad, and Batman vs Superman, they never connected their movies.
No, they didn't. They were all independent, their own storylines. Batman's gone through several versions, several characters, and only until Suicide Squad, Batman vs Superman, did you actually start seeing the formation, like especially Batman vs Superman, basically was the core set of your JLA characters, your Justice League of America. And when you see the next set of movies, you're going to start seeing DC putting their stuff together, where you start seeing the Flash and Cyborg join up. And then, of course, you got your original core Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman together. But I think most people are still latching onto, again, Marvel in the lead with this. You started with Captain America, then you started adding the Avengers, just like the comics. You had all these individual little pieces, and they put them all together. And I think that's where people are grabbing on. People are latching onto. Okay, we know Superman. Not Superman, but in the Marvel series, we're getting all these characters together, which are mostly right now again the core Avengers, which is basically your DC's Justice League. So but everybody can relate to them. I mean, they're piecing them. You get little pieces every little movie, and I think also the thing that they lead into is at the end of each movie they have those little snippets for you. You know, what's coming up next.
Yeah,
you know, who are we going to see? You know, you might get a Guardians of the Galaxy or a little introduction to the next movie, something that just hooks you and keeps you on there and says, "Okay, I can't wait to see it." So yes, Marvel in this case has got the lead in that.
Okay, so as far as the live action movies are concerned, Marvel is definitely taking it.
Oh yes, and they're relating their products and their movies together. I think that's what's keeping their audiences together and keeping them attuned. You know, like everybody's watching. What's the next one going to happen? So, but I think I'm looking more for the.
I can understand that. I can definitely understand that. Because you know you're right. I think because of how they connect the movies, and this is something we'll touch on later on, but how they connect the movies to the series and how the series connect too. And it's just one big thing,
and it creates their universe.
I think that's definitely what's pushing it. So, do you think? Okay, in DC's, I'm not saying that DC is trying to play against Marvel on this, but do you think DC should have done it that way? Started off with all the characters individually and made a movie. And pretty much, it's kind of starting it backwards. They're forming a team, and then they're going to tell the people stories, the individual character stories.
Well, we had Superman, we had Batman, separate stories, and then we have a Wonder Woman separate story coming. But after we've seen her in Batman versus Superman, which is what their first tie-in is together, you know, I don't think they're doing it backwards. I think they've just been too slow about it. Because, like I said, we saw the Marvel movies with Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, again, some of your key characters in the Avengers, and they also had kind of their single story, but they were still somewhat tied into the Marvel universe that you knew, and you knew was forthcoming, and even some of them had a little bit of a crossover here and there. Whereas with the DC universe that we've seen several separate movies, a hinkling of a together movie in Batman versus Superman, but not quite all together. I mean, you see an introduction of Aquaman briefly, you see an introduction of the Flash briefly, and then if you have seen a trailer for Justice League, a precursor trailer for Justice League, you see the formation of them together. And I think they just took it slow. They took it way slow versus where the Marvel just jumped up and just started adding everybody together to build it quickly and coherently, and in this case it's paying off for them. DC is going to be playing catch up on this, but I hope that their storylines in the DC world, we know that they're always going to be a little bit darker. Suicide Squad was it had its humor.
It was fun, but it was dark.
Yes, it was a very dark styled movie, what you're not accustomed to seeing in the Marvel world. So, and I think they're going to carry on with that in the new series. I mean, the Justice League trailer that just came out about a month ago, or actually about 3 weeks ago, still has some of that humor in it. But overall, you're seeing still a darker style of movie, which I really would like. I would like to see him really flesh out a good Justice League, darker, more grittier style. I mean, in this case, Batman's... in this series is, Batman's general rule was never kill anybody. But in this last movie, we saw Batman versus Superman. He mopped the floor with these guys and didn't even slow down.
Yeah, he was kicking all kinds of tail. That's one reason I did like that version of Batman.
Yeah, it was so much different than what you're accustomed to. You watch the animated series and you're like, okay, but... And then you've seen all the Tim Burtons and the George Clooney's and the Val Kilmers. And you're like, to me, they got... The original Michael Keaton version was great. It was the darker version. Not like grim evil, but, darker. It wasn't so much humor in it. And then they started getting, to me, too cartoony is the word I like to use.
Yeah.
I mean, they were bigger, better, bolder.
Yeah.
But it started getting to where it was just too cartoony, and I was losing my interest in
Yeah.
it. I want to see
It
Mr.
felt
Freeze.
like, yeah, I would like to see Mr. Freeze too.
I want to see Freeze come in there and be like the Victor Freeze in the animated series. He's still kind of an anti-hero, but I mean, he has his own purpose. We know why he exists. We know why he does things. But he
Yeah.
was cold, literally, not to use the pun, cold-hearted. But but when you see Arnold Schwarzenegger, the body armor looked cool, but the character was just not there for me. So
I honestly, somebody pointed this out, and much I used to love that movie. Now I kind of went back and saw, like, okay, the movie kind of stupid, but still kind of fun. And then something happened in the movie. Somebody pointed it out in a video review. They said he was like $1 billion diamonds, but he was using them to power his suit instead of using it to actually get the money to save his wife.
exactly. He's freezing everybody. Why? What's the point of that? So it's little stuff like that. Say in that series, they were trying to make it big and popular, but they lost steam. The directors changed. Your Batman's changed. Your style of the movies changed. And again, the goal, they got lost until Batman Begins. And
Batman Begins brought it back.
And a whole new change. I mean, it went back to the darker style. Not as much humor, nitty gritty, and I loved it. So
I think what Batman Begins did for superhero movies, modernized it. Because even though we've had several superhero movies come out before that, but nothing felt as modernized, in my opinion, as Batman Begins. Like the whole Dark Knight series felt modernized.
Yeah, it was like a very different.
Could happen.
Yeah, it was way better filmography wise, visual effects wise. It was more practical. We lost the cartoonishness. We got down to nitty gritty. Like, what if this were a real guy who went through these situations? And even as the Batman in that style, he started out in the learning, going around doing his things. We learned about the League of Shadows. Ra's al Ghul, was a little bit better in that one than some of the other, cartoonish versions I've seen. So it was very good that they did it in that style, and again kicked it back in gear. And as you see, the DC movies have continued on with that. You still keep that same darkness / darker style movie, but it's more practical, more believable. And just like watching Suicide Squad. They threw a lot of stuff at you real quick to get you established with your characters. I wish they would have gotten into the characters a little bit more. Enchantress being,
I think,
where'd she come from? Because that's actually one of those obscure characters that they bring in to throw in a kink in the works. Interesting.
I mean, she was cool, but they didn't give enough. They didn't give enough about her character.
No, they didn't bring a lot, and they didn't bring out in what type of character she was. You just got a very light touch. Deadshot, you don't see a lot about Deadshot. I mean, most of the characters in the Suicide Squad are obscure to anybody. I mean, really, except for Harley Quinn. Everybody knows Harley Quinn, Joker, but he's not really part of the Suicide Squad at this point. I mean, I know he comes in later in the series, but just in this establishment, he wasn't there. So, I mean, I hope to see more in another movie with the same characters as they expand on to the Suicide Squads. If they do carry on with them, I would like to see some more and bring out some more of those characters that the Suicide Squad's going to bring out more of those obscure characters that a lot of people are not familiar with.
Yeah.
So, with that, I hope they do that.
All right, so we've talked about the live action films, and DC's trying to catch up, but we've established that Marvel has taken the film industry by storm when it comes to that animated films.
Absolutely.
I think DC pretty much wipes the floor with the animated films. They own it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of their animated series, and see with the animated series, they keep it dark, they keep it real, and I haven't seen a lot of the newer ones yet. I'm kind of behind on my viewing, but from what I've seen, I like their animated series is a lot better right now than some of again, Marvel being a little more in this case lighthearted, cartoony.
Oh, I mean like the animated films, like Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
Exactly.
The Yeah, The Dark Knight Returns, Batman Under the Red Hood. I think they're animated films. Like, have you seen the 2009 Wonder Woman film that came out with?
I've seen hit and miss on a lot of their animated series. I've got a backlog of probably about 10 movies to catch up on within the DC realm, like the Batman series. My son is actually ahead of me.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I haven't really dove too much into the animated, but what I have seen of them, I like their style a lot better. I like their storytelling a lot better. I have definitely enjoyed the few that I have seen. So once I catch up on that, I can give you a little bit better. But I think, at least in that realm, I am definitely going to agree with you from what I've seen that DC does take that market and they use it and they run with it.
I see. I was doing a top 10 list, and I was trying my best to come up with a top 10 like Marvel animated movies, and I couldn't even think of more than five. The only animated movies that really stand out in my mind from Marvel is uh, what was it, Ultimate Avengers and Ultimate Avengers 2.
I've seen some of those. There was also I like the Punisher, so I caught one of the Punisher, Black Widow, Shield. I
Yeah,
can't remember the name of the
I
movie
did
right
see
off the top
that.
of my head. I like that
Yeah,
one. That was pretty good. Actually, that was a little bit
I've seen
darker
that
than their
too.
normal series because they threw the Punisher in there, of course, and he just doesn't give a rat's butt about anybody. So
Yeah,
it was good in that case because he went in there and took names and let it go, and you
yeah.
actually kind of saw what character Frank Castle is. So, but again,
Uh,
DC, I think in this case is going to take that flag and run with it.
yeah,
Their animation, their
yeah.
storylines are much better in their animated series. In this case,
And now they're doing like an animated DC universe too. I think where they have a collection of. I think the New 52. I think that's where they're pulling it from. Where you know how originally in the original DC storyline is Clark and Lois Lane, in a relationship.
and they changed it
Well, in the
out.
New
And they,
52, yeah, in the New 52 now it's like Clark and Wonder Woman.
oh yeah, yep,
And
yep.
yeah, and those been like the last few movies that I've seen a few of them. I thought they were alright. The last one I seen was Justice League versus Teen Titans.
No, that I want to see. That would be a very
I
interesting.
seen it. I seen it and I liked it, but I think they could have did more with it. And you watch it, I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but when you watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Well, when we do that, we'll do a review
Uh,
on that one too. I'll
yeah,
try to get that
yeah,
this weekend and look at it and see if we can set up for our next session to run off some of the DC animated movies.
yeah. Oh, and I'm gonna let you know. I highly recommend you go see Justice League: Gods and Monsters. I love that one. That's like literally one of my favorite ones.
Is that very similar to
But I'm not gonna spoil.
the alternate universe? Okay,
Yes,
yeah, I want to
yes.
see that. There's also a video game, if I remember correctly, based on that, and there's actually a second video game coming out based on that as well.
And having said video games, and just run into the video games. Then, who do you think dominates more, DC or Marvel, when it comes to the video games?
DC.
I didn't want to say it, but I think DC definitely does it, especially with everybody know what I'm going to say, the Batman Arkham series.
Exactly. That was the first thought in my head. I couldn't really honestly think of any Marvel ones off the top of my head except for the one my son was playing um, not too long ago. I can't even think of the name of it because it escapes me at the moment. But I really don't see that many, to me, Marvel games out there. But I mean, I see a lot of DC style games, and of course, Batman Arkham series comes right into play. Boom, right there in front
I
of your face.
see Marvel. See, Marvel has a lot of games. I'll admit that. Marvel and DC, as far as like throwing games out, are about equal. But I think DC has come out. I'm just gonna say, leading DC is the Batman Arkham series. Not only because it's just a great game, it has great storytelling, great gameplay. It is very memorable. I not so much any. I can't really think of no Marvel game off the top of my head that were like straight memorable.
That's pretty
Like I
bad because I'm
have
sitting
to
here
go play
trying to
that
think.
game.
I mean, I didn't get too much into video games, but I'm sitting here just thinking off the top of my head. It's like, when is the last time I really saw a Marvel game even kind of mentioned?
Yeah, I
Except
mean,
for well, even in PlayStation World, let's say the Lego series,
yeah,
you see those. You know, you get the
like
Lego
yeah.
Adventures and stuff like that. And I do remember those. I've even played them a couple times with my kids and stuff. But that's the only thing I could really just sticks in my head. Other than that, nothing really jumps out at me.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you could say like what's Marvel's most like most one the one the one title Marvel has is like just the most pronounced probably be Spider-Man, and he has a lot of games, and there's some they're pretty cool, but like I said, they're not memorable.
I've seen
Like
there was another one with Iron Man. There was an Iron Man one that was out not too long ago too that I remember. I think it was like Iron Man 3 or something like that, where it was okay, but again, nothing compared to storyline wise. There was really no story. It was just basically mind numbing. Fly around, blow this up, have a nice day. There's no thought process into it. Whereas
Yeah,
you get
I
into the
remember,
Arkham, you have to solve. I mean, you have to really get into them and get into
and
the
like I
game
said,
and
it
feel
was,
that character.
and that's just the one thing about that series. It was great graphics, great gameplay, great stories, great characters. I mean, everything. I mean, it had its flaws here and there, but it was still just like if I could recommend that series to anybody, like I can't think of any other superhero series in any medium of games where I was like, okay, you need to play that series. The only other series I say is which I liked. I still do like them. There was a series back in the day called X-Men Legends,
Yes.
where you got to play with all the X-Men as a team, and you got to make your own team and stuff. Like that was like that right there, along with the sequel. That probably was like one of the most memorable that Marvel has had,
And there was
as well
Legends
as
and Legends 2 was it Rise of the Apocalypse, I think.
yeah,
Which would
yeah,
have been great if they brought that back for the movie that just
yeah,
came out. Or at least revised the game and brought it back out. But
or even made a third game. They got the content for it.
heck yeah.
And the same thing with Marvel Ultimate Alliance. That's another series Marvel does kind of got under his belt. That's like probably the only what I'm saying, just as pronounced equal, but they never followed it up with a third game. And I think that's Marvel's way. If they're going to do that, that's Marvel's way of actually making a great story, great characters, fun. It was fun, especially when you had multiple people. But
Well, they also, I think, Marvel, again, as we're talking darker style, like looking at the Arkham series, it's, grimmer, darker. Whereas, for example, Marvel went in there with their, was it the little game, Disney Infinity, and they brought in
yes,
all those characters again, rehashing not only just the comic Marvel universe, but all the other little universes that they own now. Disney,
yeah,
all powerful, all knowing. But they brought those characters in there, and they brought some really cool characters. I mean, I think I saw Doctor Doom one in there, and I just wanted to collect the little characters. I don't care about the game, but they again were comparing the two together. You see the more lighthearted, more fun, adventurous games. Iron Man, all Black Widow, all your characters are showing up in that Infinity series. They're not really trying to make them graphically, a monster game in there. They're just using them to carry on the stories and get the kids to love the characters and bring them into that world. And I say Marvel, again, at least in this case, likes to bring those characters, the lightheartedness in there, and that's why a lot of people are attached.